one is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He is an advocate, activist, artist, and of course, the author of his memoir, Something Special Be, no other than Mr. Hugh Flynn.
Howdy.
How are you, Mister? Welcome on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
You want me to tell me about myself? Okay. I can talk about myself all night, but I'll try not to. Okay. Nobody wants to hear all of that. But I'm Hugh Flynn. I'm the author of Something Special Be. It's my very first memoir. It's available in paperback and Kindle versions on Amazon right now. I'm a widely published journalist and an award-winning playwright. I've been a corporate communications C-suite executive for many Fortune 500 companies, mostly in the health and wellness space. As you noted, I'm a lifelong advocate for the rights of the underserved, as well, and particularly people with disabilities. My next book is going to be a collection of short stories called Fifth Grade. And I'm really pleased to join you today and also your wonderful audience.
Mr. Hugh Flynn, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world.
Sound effect appreciated.
Yes, so the subtitle mentions a gay brother, a disabled brother, a vengeful brother, a war.
War.
How does these threads intertwine in the story?
Well, those are three of the main characters. I am the gay brother. My brother Aaron is the disabled brother, and we had another brother named Greg who was the vengeful brother. The other fourth main character would be my partner at the time, and there's many other characters, of course, but those four are sort of central to this story, of course.
Was the book inspired by personal experiences, historical events, or pure imagination?
This is a true story. There's no AI, there's no futzing around. This is a true story. I worked on it really, Daniel, for about 10 years. I had to take some breaks here and there, of course, but I did put about 10 years of work into it. It's about a lot of things, and I sat down to write it. Well, first of all, I had a tremendous archive to work from because we ended up in a enormous legal confrontation, which took place, really transpired over the course of an entire year, if you can believe that. And so I keep meticulous records, and I kept them. So I was also journaling while the process was going on, just to help me keep my head from blowing up. And so actually, it was all over for at least a few years when I thought to myself, this has all the elements of a tremendous story. It's all there. We have all the conflicts. We have a contemporary story. We have something that I think a lot of people will identify with, I hope. And so why not put it into a book? My reservation, my hesitancy was, I don't write about myself. I don't write memoirs. I just hadn't done that before. So I just had to get comfortable with that and move on down the road. And so that's what I did.
How do the different brothers reflect contrasting ways of surviving adversity?
Well, adversity is the name of the game, of course. I think your audience would certainly agree with that. I'm sure you would too. It's the name of the game, but it's more than that. It's how you negotiate the adversity. I mean, how you manage it, how you negotiate it, how you integrate it in your life, and how you learn from it. In the case of our family, big family, a lot of siblings. We had a very ill mother at the time, and so her shadow was sort of over, the entire process for a good long while. Um, and each of the siblings sort of had their own position about certain things. And just to kind of back up, my brother Aaron was just a tremendous, an enchanting person. Just you know, everything I always wanted to be, and I tried as much as I could to be like him, for all of my life. I mean, he was just a few years older than me, so he was the next sibling. I was the youngest sibling, and then we had five siblings, additional siblings. So it was a process started with, as I said, our parents getting ill, our father dying, and then our mother was ill. And at the time that that happened, Aaron was still living with our parents. And so we, as a family, never thought we'd be in a position that we were in. I'm sure there's just thousands of people. I'm sure some of your readers would agree. You just can't believe certain things happen. So we certainly never thought that my mother would become ill and then my dad would pass away, but she would become ill before that happened, and there was no one to take care of him. We just never thought that would happen, and but it did. And so in that process, I stepped in, and for many reasons, but one of them was to say, listen, let's have Aaron come live with me. He's always wanted to live with me anyway here in Los Angeles. He'd been to Los Angeles a number of times for extended periods. He was stayed once for 3 months. So he knew LA, and of course we grew up, just in Sieme together. And so he came finally. It took a lot of back and forth, a lot of negotiating, um, with the people he was staying with, which was another one of our siblings. Anyways, once he got here, he was here for about a year. We had some health issues. Again, you don't anticipate these things in life, right? But life happens sometimes in a big
Mm-hmm.
way, and he needed some health care, and he needed some specialist care. And so he was in a great place for that because Los Angeles has just some tremendous hospitals. And I don't know if your readers know Cedar, or your listeners or audience know Cedar Sinai, but it's the medical center of the stars in Beverly Hills. I mean, it is the place to go. And he's going to get the best care possible. So anyway, that's what happened. And when that happened, I realized, I said, you know what? I have no authority here to make any decisions to really help him in the way I think I need to. So that really motivated me to pursue a conservatorship, which I can talk about a conservatorship if you want. Conservatorships are not exactly that interesting, but it's a big part of the story, at least in terms of the legal framework. And so once that happened, and once I started pursuing the uh, conservatorship, interviewing attorneys and that sort of thing, and selecting one, and then deciding I'm going to file for, which is what you do. It's a little bit like applying for a job, really. You have to fill out a lot of paperwork. You have to have interviews, and then you have an attorney that works with you, and you have to go to, in this case, Superior Court. And once that happened, all the paperwork goes out to all the family members, and they just blew up. I mean, everyone just went up in smoke. I was stunned, and then that's where the book goes. So it was negotiating a tremendous amount of surprise, and the the conflict, of course, in a book like this is you have plot points, of course, and then you also have the character arcs and how the characters grow and change, hopefully, over the period of this conflict. And that's how this all sort of moved about. We were sort of like, pieces on a chessboard, and this person made this move, and I made this move, and all of that. But keep in mind, that's all on the clock. None of that was free. And this went on and on and on for, like I said, a year. an entire calendar year. So I'm getting stressed out.
So, Mr. Hugh, let's talk about the social and cultural commentary.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did.
Are you sure?
Yes, indeed, Mr. Yu. So, what's the larger messages about systemic injustice or discrimination did you hope to highlight through the brothers' journeys?
That's a great question. Uh, I would say the aegis of this story, where this story really began, at least in my brain, was it's the story about trying to deny someone their right to self-determination. That is what this story, that is that is what generated all of this tremendous conflict, all of this Sturm and Dram that just got thicker and thicker and higher and more difficult. But that is what the story is, and that was what my brother wanted. And even though as I was applying for conservatorship, which means I would technically be taking some of his rights away from him, or being able to control certain parts of his life, such as his finances, such as medical decisions, things like that, in a limited conservatorship. What I really was doing was defending his decision and his right that this is what I want. I want to live here with my brother Hugh. I love Hugh. He loves me. We're as happy as we can be. Don't take that away from me. And we had siblings from, by the way, they're all over the country. I mean, so you know, I wish people were just in Vancouver. I mean, we had people all over the country because
Mhm.
we're scattered far and wide, and that, of course, made it also more difficult. But that is what motivated me, and I will say also that is what sustained me, because there was any number of times, of course, in the memoir, tremendous self doubt. Of course, the financial piece was just staggering, just ridiculous. Um, I was managing a career. I mean, I had a life. I had a partner. I had a life. We had things going on, and I made sure to put that in this book because I really felt it was important for people to see that a challenge like this can be broached even when you've got a very complex life. But it's really up to your ability to identify and tap into your own inner resources, your own inner strengths. Because there's no question I had so many doubts. I doubted myself. Many times I thought we would lose, many times. They had more money, they had more people, you know, and we were dealing with, I don't mind saying, and the book certainly goes there. I mean, the legal system was just tone deaf. I mean, I was absolutely flabbergasted with how my brother was treated by attorneys and court staff. I mean, I really was offended for him. He had an enormous capacity to. I mean, he'd seen this his whole life, of course, and so he had a tremendous capacity for tolerating it and for forgiving people for their ignorance, which is something I'm just not that good at. Um, but I kept saying to myself over and over again, and it's in the book, this is what these people do. This is their job. They deal with people with special needs all the time. What is this crap? Why are you such so awkward, uncomfortable, condescending, patronizing? Really, really, you know working with the regional center here in California, which is where you're going to have to go. It's a statewide social service network, and he had to be taken to the regional center by me and get his process, his intake done, and get his assessment and all that. And then they issue their own opinion about any conservatorship. So they were going to be an influencer, if you will, and so you know I feel like I'm getting in the weeds a little bit. I don't want to.
Yes,
Gotta
Mr. Hugh,
for listening.
which brother's perspective? Let's talk about the writing process and craft. Which brother's perspective was the most difficult for you to write and why?
Probably Greg, because um, Greg is the primary antagonist in this story. There's really three. I would list him as the primary antagonist, and why it was more difficult was I wanted to be sure that I made that character as I enriched that character as much as possible. So I had to back off a lot of my obvious bias and a lot of my anger. I had to peel that back to give him a more air, more space in this book, so that he was a three dimensional character, because he really had to be a three dimensional character. Because Aaron loved him. I mean, Aaron had loved all of his siblings, all of his family, and I did not, until very very late in this process, I did not really disclose what was happening as far as sort of the legal loopholes, the legal machinations that we had to go through. I didn't see the purpose in doing that. And when his money came up missing, I mean, aside from keeping myself from going absolutely out of my own mind, why visit that on my brother? I mean, he didn't have to know that, and he never did. Although I was accused by two lawyers, two, count them two lawyers of intimidating him, and coaching him, and persuading him, influencing him, if you will, which of course is not something I would ever do, because I respected him too much, which was something which was absolutely almost nowhere in this process. Was where is the respect? We give a lot of goddamn lip service to that in this country. I went this back. Well, here we are. Can you please demonstrate it for me? You know, Boy, I'm telling you, it was rough going at times. So I think his character, for me, was the hardest to get down, because I had to sort of flesh it out a little bit more. Aaron was, Aaron and I, we're sort of like we're like the same person. We just move in and out of each other at different times in our lives. So our intimacy is strong, and we know each other extremely, extremely well. So that wasn't too difficult at all.
So, Mr. Hugh, as an author, what are your
Yeah.
short term and long term goals?
Well, I've been many things in my life. And I wrote my first book when I was in second grade. But in addition to being an author and working in corporate communications, I think I mentioned in my introduction, um, I've had a minor career as a playwright. I've been published, widely published as a journalist. I ran a magazine here in California for 7 years as the editor in chief and general manager. I've worked for a lot of environments, and then I've also worked on the creative side. I mean, I've worked in film, television, radio, stage, TV. So I have a wide interest and a wide net, and I've tried things that I didn't think I ever would try, just to see how I would do and how I would go. But right now, in a more immediate answer, as I said, I'm working on my next. Well, I am working on the next book. It's called Fifth Grade. It's really structured as short stories, but it's also a memoir, and that's. I mean, I anticipate that may be ready for publication at the end of this year, but if not the end of this year, we're looking like January, February. So,
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Hugh, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be an author like you?
well, I'll tell you what, it's not that hard to try. Um, Now, I think I've been asked that question several times, and by different people, and people have different ideas about that. Um, Writing is not easy. So if you the magic you out there, anybody that's listening, if you think it's hard, it is. So okay, a lot of things in life that are worth doing are hard, you know. So you know yourself, you know, you know your capacity, your resources. Uh, Start a little bit at a time, you know. I always tell people I've coached and tutored writing quite a bit, um, mostly like middle school and early high school. And I typically encourage people not to start on the first page. Put page one aside. Just don't worry about page one. You know, um, start somewhere, wherever your heart leads you. Start it right there, because you never know where it will take you, where you will take yourself. You know, but it is this it is that page one that we've all seen it in the movies. We've seen it dramatized. The writer paralyzed at the typewriter, and don't know where to start. Then don't start. Don't start on the beginning. Just start somewhere. You know, you can always go back and figure it out. You know, and you can always redo it. Of course, once you publish it, you can still redo it with another edition, but it is kind of there, kind of like a movie. It's kind of like, well, that's it, you know. Um, and I would say the last thing I would say about that is you have to be kind to yourself. And the way to be kind to yourself when you're writing is to figure out a way, whatever your technique is, to turn off your internal critics. Turn them off, because they're there. Everybody has them. We all have them, you know. And believe me, as many years as I've been doing this, they're still in me. They're still in there. You can take them out if you want to, later on and say, well, I want to trash what I just did. They'll still be there. But while you're in your creative process, turn them off.
Turn them off, people. So before we wrap up our discussion for today, Mr. Hugh, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love letters in third season, and my movie 101 and music 101 in fourth season, and science 101 and sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Hugh, what
Yep.
do you hope readers carry with them after finishing something special be?
I think I would hope that, um, first of all, they will have met Aaron Flynn. I think that's really important. And I really wanted him to be on paper so other people that didn't know him and never had the lucky chance to meet him could. Um, and because it really is a story about you know um, getting over um, a major obstacle in life. I mean, what an obstacle, right? Um, I think the book hopefully shows it's doable. You can do it, and it helps if you maintain a little sense of humor along the way. I would just caveat that by saying that my brother really was the owner of the humor. I mean, when I was, whoa, I mean, I was like two sheets to the wind out of my mind with anxiety. Um, he would be there with that loving kernel of humor, you know, to get us into the next day. And I think that's important. I think a lot of people, you're in Vancouver, but a lot of people in this country, they just have outrage burnout. I mean, people are just so angry all the time about so many different things. It's a mess, right?
Mhm.
But this book gets to be a mess, and then you find your way out of it. I mean, the writing style, it's first person singular present tense, because I really wanted to bring the reader with us into this reality. Come with us and follow us through this story inside the narrator's mind and inside the hearts of the other characters. I hope I did that. Certainly, the early reviews are incredibly gratifying. So some of them suggest maybe some success there.
Well, thank you for that, Mr. For Hugh Flynn. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your special bee or something special bee?
Something special be. Yeah.
So where do people can buy your book, Mr. Hugh?
Available in paperback and Kindle right now on Amazon. And I don't know when the podcast is going to go live, but there will be a promotion in September. So it'll be later September. There'll be a promotion. So that means you can get it for very few dollars and or free.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Hugh Flynn because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering memoirs to come. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Hugh, thank you so much for your time.
And Daniel, thanks for doing this podcast.
You are most welcome. This podcast is created for you. More to come, people. See you soon.